Buenos días, buenas tardes, y buenas noches, bonjour, bonsoir, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you may be. J. Slater case, and it's back to the Airbnb. It's back to the red car that is parked where I consider in the way and blocking everything, whereas the Cooper estate isn't. It's back to all that because I want to go through all the possibilities that are linked to this car parking situation, which on the surface seems irrelevant to anything. And yet, I actually think it's key because there are certain elements of the Jay Slater case that all hang on this moment of how many cars are there, whose car is whose, and what's going on with the cars. I mean, statement of the obvious. If it turns out, big if, but if it turns out that Ayub Abdul Qasim is lying about having to move the cars around and Ophelia knocking on the door, if he is lying about all that, it's yet another red flag that indicates to me that Jay Slater died in some other way than walking up the hill and going into the wilderness and falling off a cliff or a ravine edge. So I think it is worth going through this whole car situation. And I know it's been done before. People have talked about, the cars, but there are a few things that have come to light that I'm sure a lot of you aren't aware of. I wasn't aware of. So we'll walk through it slowly and gently. Now, to start at the beginning, the reason I ventured down this, what's happening with the cars, was because man on the ground in Tenerife, Noah, said it just doesn't make any sense that when Jay is making his video and panning across there, that we don't see any car right outside the Airbnb blocking anywhere at all. All we see is the white car that is parked in front of the garage. Um, and of course, that is true. That's all true. If Jay 7:30 Monday morning is filming no cars in front of the Airbnb, therefore no cars blocking anywhere, therefore I've never moved any car, then the whole thing was a lie. But Scoobs, who has looked into this, I mean, a long time ago, is absolutely sure that the red car that we see it quite clearly in Rocky's blurred out photos, a red car next to Ayub's Cupra. Um, Scoobs is quite sure that that red car is in Jay's panning across the mountain skyline there. That the very back end of that red car does appear in that video. Um, Now I've had a look at that, and I mean, with me, it's always hands up. My vision is not great. I really don't pick out color and detail that well. But I still can't see, sorry, Scoobs, I still can't see any hint of a red car in that video. But let's assume that I can't see that, but everyone else can. That's fine. There could well be the back end of that red car parked way up, not right opposite where the door of the Airbnb is, but way up, well, not way up because it's not a massive driveway, but to the left and right up close to the main road by the bus stop, effectively. So let's assume that's true. There is a red car there. But no, that's right. There's definitely no Cupra estate, no car by the steps of the Airbnb. So where is that parked if Ayub is telling the truth? Well, it turns out that there is a way that Cupra can be parked close to the Airbnb, but not outside the Airbnb door. And you've got to know the structure of that Airbnb to appreciate this. So let's just walk you through it. I mean, what I will do is put on justiceforj.com a photo or two that shows how the structure of that white Airbnb is quite odd. And I'm not talking about inside, I'm talking about the walls of it, because I think a lot of people imagine when you turn down that driveway, You just have the one Airbnb wall where the steps are. There's a doorway there, and further on, as you go towards that garage and turning around the corner where the motorbike is always parked, there's a window and bars against the window, like wrought iron bars. That is just one side of the Airbnb. So if you have the Airbnb wall there, imagine that the doorway is here. Now this section here is at an angle, 45 degrees. Um, just come out of the Airbnb, the steps where the blanket photo is, turn left. You don't actually go straight up to the road there. There's a 45-degree angle moving to the left as you come out of the Airbnb. And in a way, that driveway widens. So there is room, long and the short of it is, there is room for Ayub to have parked the Cupra quite close to the Airbnb wall, but not right by the doorway and the entranceway, but at that 45-degree angle wall, which is kind of heading up towards the cafe entrance there, up to the main road. It is possible. The only problem with that is, as everyone has pointed out, that if Ayub reversed, as he says he did, reversed in tight and close to that wall, then how does Ayub get out of that car? It doesn't matter whether that Cupra estate is parked close to the 45-degree angled wall or next to the main wall of the Airbnb where the doorway and the steps are. It doesn't matter. Wherever he's parked close to that wall, we can't figure out how he gets out of the car. Because Rocky's in the passenger seat. Rocky is passed out, drunk, snoring, what have you. I don't think Ayub is athletic enough to clamber over Rocky without waking him up and then make the video. How did Ayub get out so close to the wall? And let's be honest, Ayub is no Slim Jim. Ayub is more chubby checker. So not only does he have to open, the door a few inches, he has to open the door the width of his chubby tummy there. So Ayub has to squeeze his way out. And from what we see of the Cooper estate close to the wall, I don't think we see how Ayub gets out there. So that is a massive problem. But I will accept that I think Scoobs may well be right that if Ayub parked the Cooper estate, reversed it in, parked it close to the wall, the 45-degree angled wall, close to the entrance to that driveway. If he did that, then as he comes around the front of the car and starts filming Rocky inside, I'm not 100% sure, but it may well be possible that at an angle he does catch part of the garage door and that street lamp. That may well be possible. May well be possible. I'm not sure. To be honest, I'd have to go back there and try to line all that up to see if it works. It's tight. It's tight, meaning I still have my doubts that what Rocky is filming would, from the angle of showing us Rocky in the front of the car there, when I was filming, I still don't really see that we would see the whole of the garage door and the street lamp back there. But I'll put a question mark over it. It's a maybe. As I said in yesterday's video, whenever it was, it's not really Ayub's car that is of interest to me. I mean, I'm fascinated by the fact that Ayub could squeeze out of that and make his film recording and all the rest of it. Yeah, that's all well and good. But it's this red car. Because I come back to the point that Ayub keeps saying that he had to move his car because he was blocking something and he wasn't. It doesn't really matter if that Cooper estate is parked by the 45-degree angle wall type. He's not blocking anything there. On the contrary, he has left that driveway free. It is the red car by the bus stop or the red car opposite the doorway to the Airbnb that's blocking everything. So I come back to this. I cannot see how. So let me straighten that out. I cannot see how Ophelia, along with Ramon and Juan Diaz, come knocking at the door to say, you have to move your car because you're blocking everyone. He's not. I'll say it again. It doesn't matter where that Cooper estate is parked. While the red car is parked either by the bus stop or kind of opposite the door. That's the red car that's blocking. So whose is the red car? And you might think that who owns the red car? What does it matter whether it's Ophelia, it's Joe Bloggs or whoever it is? What does it matter? No, it really matters because we were told a long time ago, Haley Comet, I think it was, that a second car arrives. Haley Comet claimed she had some kind of video taken from a few houses back, or I don't know where it was taken from, but she says that another set of headlights can be seen coming into that driveway, El Touron, after Jay and them arrived. Maybe, maybe not. But the point is, it could be that that red car, especially if it's not Ophelia's, was the car that was used to take Jay alive, dead or alive, out of there. In other words, there is a car right there that could have been used, as well as the white car, to take Jay away. My point is, if there were no other car around there associated with that Airbnb, I would start to say that Jay being taken from there or moving away from there in another car would be doubtful. But that red car, plus the white car, but the red car in particular, is in prime position, in my mind, for Jay to get in it and be taken somewhere. I mean, we have Ophelia saying she drove up to Buena Vista for her insurance claim. It could be. Could be that she did. Could be that Ophelia didn't go anywhere. Could be that Ophelia's car went somewhere. Could be the red car was used and came back. That red car, I think, is always there, or it was always there. I can't say of late, but it was there. It was there. It was a staple fixture, if you like, of the Airbnb. That red car. If it's not Ophelia's, then whose is it? Now we've got some clues on who it is. We'll go get into that in just a second. But that red car, I just have a feeling is key to understanding if Jay left there, how did he leave there, and who took him. The big problem for me, for anyone that says Jay Slater was in that Airbnb and walked up the hill, the big problem for me is that if that were the case, the Guardia Civil dogs, statement of the obvious, would have shown up the next day, as I believe they did, maybe not Tuesday, maybe the Wednesday. Guardia Civil dogs would have followed his scent. It's that simple. It really is that simple. You can't have trained sniffer dogs 2 days after a young teenage lad in his trainers has walked out of that Airbnb up to the road, turned left. And you can't, it's not possible that no sniffer dog would just sit there and say, I don't know. I mean, can't smell anything. That's their job. That's what they do. And we're talking a day after, 2 days after. It's not 2 weeks after. If it were a month after, I mean, those smells for a trained sniffer dog last a long time. Yeah, I know it depends on the conditions. It can be windy, it can be rainy, which it was after a few days there. It wasn't great conditions, but we're talking 2 days. I mean, I don't know how to put it in human terms, but if you've been cooking roast chicken and you overcooked it, you burnt it, and that smell was in your house, 2 days later, human would come round and say someone burnt the chicken. Dog would smell it from 20 streets away. My point is that there is no answer to this. I know we have Chris Pennington saying dogs are only a tool, they're not a solution. But in this case, the dog is a tool that 10 times out of 10, you know, boy in sweaty trainers walks up the hill, dog follows the scent. It's that easy. So if you're one of those that thinks that Jay was in the Airbnb, how to account for the fact that dogs couldn't smell him? Well, the only explanation for me is that he was taken away by car. So the dogs might be able to smell something right by the steps, so they can't smell anything after that. So which car was used? Was it that red car? Let's get into the red car because a long time ago there was a debate about whose car the red car was. And one of my big contributors went back and found this discussion, which I had never followed. Wax did because the guy that was talking about the red car was a guy that I don't know, he says he lives or lived on Tenerife, he knew Masca, and he would check out the red car. Um, Let me see if I can find that online conversation. Um, so the guy that tells Wax that he lives on Tenerife um, is called Stuart, I think. Stuart Martin 935. Stuart, if you are watching this video, if you could let me know, and I'll double check with you that what you said here is right. Here's Stuart Martin. He says, we live in Tenerife and know Masca and the roads very well. No way did Jay walk up the hill. And anybody who has been there would know that. Also, the road up to Masca is like no road you've ever seen. We are heading up there on Tuesday, so if there's anything you would like us to check out, get in touch. I don't know when that was written. I mean, a long, long time ago. A long, long time ago. And then there are a few comments. Someone called Sarah Geimer says, please check if the red car is still there. I'll Photoshop this and put it in the description of the video, and I make a post of it on justice4j.com. Yeah, so Stuart, our man Stuart here, is ready to go up there and check out the red car thing. Now then, there's someone called who goes with the avatar Z, user KK6IE8VY5K, whatever, just says, I live in Masca. Okay. Thank you, Zed, for telling us that. I think that's that weird Mark guy, but don't know. Wax Unfiltered in this conversation. Yes, please do drop me an email and tell me if that red car is still there. Stuart Martin says, will do me. All right. And then the Z user guy that I think is Mark says, see Mark reply later. It is accessible. Jay got there. We got there. That is the kind of incoherent, incomprehensible babble that you'd expect from Mark. He doesn't mention poo and we, but his message is, see Mark reply later. It is accessible. Jay got there. We got there. Whatever. Stuart Martin, sounding a bit more coherent, sent you an email, Wax. Was there today. We got lots of footage. Thumbs up. And Stuart Martin writes to Sarah Geimer, yes, the red car is there. It belongs to one of the builders working next to the villa. Okay. Stuart has identified the owner of the red car. It's a builder, not Ophelia, it's a builder. Now, if Stuart got that right, if it's a builder, I would say that diminishes the chances remarkably that that car was used to get Jay anywhere. Builder, I don't think, is involved in this. Don't know, but anyway. Stuart carries on. He says to another commenter, he says, cafe was closed. There was nobody there, but there is someone living at the back. He has a motorcycle, and there was a large dog, German Shepherd, chained up, and it started barking when we looked around the place. Yeah, I can vouch for you there, Stuart. That same dog barked at me when I thought I was coming around there unnoticed, silent, stealthy. But yeah, damn German Shepherd started barking when I was a good, I don't know, 5 yards away. So I can confirm that. Um, da, 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 da. What does Stuart say after that? The guy I think is Mark, Z, user KK6IE85Y5K. He says, there now and white car. There now and white car. Don't know what I don't know what you're on about. Stuart says no, it doesn't. Just because high vis over seat. Oh no, that's who I think is Mark saying that. So Mark is already saying, if I'm right, that Z person, user, KK, what have you, is Mark. No, it doesn't, just because high vis over seat. So the high vis vest over a seat doesn't mean it's a builder's car, says Mark. Stuart says, well, Stuart says the dog is nice. You should have rung the buzzer. Sorry, Mark says the dog is nice. You should have rung the buzzer. Would have given you a tour of the B&B. Now, this, if I'm right, this guy Mark is just surely after his 5 minutes of fame because he ended up moving into the B&B. That's all I can make out of this Mark guy. He just wants people to know that he lives in the Airbnb now. And he's very strange. And he does seem to be confrontational with anyone that has anything to say on the case. That's what I've concluded about Z or M or Mark, whoever he is. Stuart says it's a yard dog, has water, as fed up of people taking photos. Sorry, that's Mark again. Mark's saying that it's a yard dog, has water, as fed. Yeah, we know that, Mark. It's no problem. Now, here's the important bit. Stuart, I was there early before the workers started and there was no car there. I was there before the workers started. There was no car there. When the workers started, the car was there. Not rocket science, is it? I agree, Stuart. That would be conclusive to me. That car is something to do with the construction. Watch the fella get out of the car, walk over to the roadworks. I should have asked him what he's doing, but it was pretty obvious to me. Yeah. Stuart goes on, there are loads of tourists walking past all day. You walk through the Airbnb yard to get to the bottom of the village. There's a public footpath there. Stuart again is right. Stuart knows his stuff here. That whole area around the back of the Airbnb and the driveway, El Tour, all of that is a public walkway. There's nothing Ophelia or Ramon or anyone can do to stop people walking around there. That German Shepherd could bark all day. It's a public right of way. So Stuart's right. There's a public footpath there. So obviously it's going to bark. And obviously the owner looks after the dog. Yeah. Stuart says, I did ring the buzzer. Nobody came. Why are you so confrontational? And before you ask, I don't have to say why I rang the buzzer. Yeah, I'm fully on board with you there, Stuart. Who is this Zed, or as I think he is, Mark guy, who is just confrontational with anyone that mentions the Airbnb? I don't know, but there we go. So I think Stuart, I feel Stuart is genuine here. I feel that he got that right. The red car was probably there during the whole of the construction period that went on into October. The only problem is if anyone has any evidence that same red car, make sure it's the same red car, is still there, that would then cast doubt on Stuart's claim that it was a builder's car, because I think the builders are now gone. Could still, I mean, the builder could be one of those that lives just opposite, or one of those houses down below there. It's also possible. But I think Stuart might have got that right. That it was a builder's car, that red car that was parked there when Ayub reversed his Cooper estate close to the wall. So the red car, maybe the red car isn't as key as I thought before I read Stuart's words on how it was probably a builder's car. I do still have in the back of my mind, I don't know if you remember this, that interview. I don't know who it is. It's a female interviewer, and it sounds like two men that claim to know, more or less Jay's group and what was happening during NRG. And they kept saying, no, that was Saturday night. That was the night before. It was the night before when Jay was up there. So I do know that Ayub seems to conflate a lot of different things happening on a lot of different days. And either deliberately or by mistake, he will tell you something that happened on one day and claim it happened on a completely different day, usually the Sunday when Jay disappeared. And I think this is what's in play here. There are a number of people that think that whole filming of Rocky in the car passed out wasn't the Sunday night, that it was the Saturday night. And that would tie in with those two guys in the interview saying, no, it was the night before. Jay was up there the night before. That was the night before. I suppose what we really need is to find out what Rocky was wearing on the Sunday night. Because another oddity in this case is that so many people seem to be wearing the same clothes day after day after day after day. I mean, we have Ayub in that pink thing. He seems to be in that many days. I mean, he might wash it every night. I don't know. Um, well, he can't wash it every night because he works at night. He's out on the strip, isn't he? Have we seen Rocky in anything but that white Boss T-shirt? Did he wear that every day, or have we only got photos of Rocky one day? Don't you? Um, and Jay in that grey shirt, it seems, or white shirt, grey shirt or white shirt. Um, yeah, these people. I don't know. They seem to be Ryanair's best customers. They really do get on board with the tiniest of little bags, hand luggage, and they make do for a week by the looks of it. So many people are now thinking that the audio, yeah, two headies to the head, took a headshot through the window. That was all Saturday night. Could be. Um, the whole reversing the car down there and close to the wall and all that. That was Saturday night, not the Sunday night. Could be. So one little detail that makes me think that any car moving would have happened on a Sunday morning, not a Monday morning. And it's just that if there is any building work to be done by Ramon and Juan Diaz, I would have thought they're more likely to do it on a Sunday, which would be a quieter day. It's when a lot of people are available to do some work like that. I have to look at Juan Diaz again because I think he's employed. Anyway, I'm just saying most people Monday to Friday don't have time to give up the whole day or half a day to do the building work. It's more likely it was a Sunday that Juan Diaz and Ramon showed up. And if that were the case to do their building work, if that were the case, then the person they saw coming out of the Airbnb, again, wearing jeans, carrying a coat bottle, could have been anyone. It's like 24 hours before Jay even got there if Jay only went there the Sunday night. Time wise, this case is all muddled up. And without having a statement of truth from more than one person involved, it's actually impossible to untangle it. We can only weigh up certain factors and say, like I just did then, and say, to me, it's more likely all of the moving of the cars and the building work, and it's more likely that was a Sunday rather than a Monday morning to me. You just weigh up these factors and try to untangle this mess of a timeline. But to his credit, I think Ayub has muddled that timeline perfectly so that a number of people have accepted all of this happened on a Sunday night, Monday morning. And I just don't think it did. I just think there are separate incidents or parts of the narrative that Ayub is picking out from different. He's not necessarily lying, but he is in some aspects, but he's also picking out certain truths from different times, fixing it all together and bamboozling us with this is what happened on that night. But it just doesn't fit. You can't make it fit very neatly. The car is a perfect example. That car is a perfect example. It shows up. The Cupra drives up. There's already a red car there, apparently. He parks at the 45-degree angle wall, does his little video. That all kind of ties in. That works. But then, like I say, who's then going to knock on the door and say you've got to move your car? He's not blocking anyone. There's always something in Ayub's narrative that just sticks out as it can't be true. There's something that's not right there. Um, and also with that whole car situation, you see, normally with an Airbnb, you're told quite specifically where your parking space is. I've mentioned this before. It is very rare for someone driving to an Airbnb to have no idea what they do with their car. You're either told it's on street parking, you got to find your own space there somewhere, or you have a slot. There's a slot for you, and most of the time you do have a slot. The owners of the Airbnb will make sure you have your space. They might say, make your space is right in front of that garage door. There, that's yours. If there's any car there, you see any white car there, you call us, you tell us that's your slot. And I'm thinking maybe, just maybe, I was told that his parking slot as the Airbnb guest is at the 45-degree angle wall, as close as you can get it in. Because if you get it close to that wall, you're blocking no one. You won't ever be asked to move that car. People can come in and out. Whether they're doing building work or driving to Buena Vista to pay their insurance, you're not blocking anyone. If you go close to the 45-degree wall, up, very close to the entranceway to that driveway, you will be fine. I've got a feeling I was told that. That's why he parked close to that wall all the time. But I don't know. And I don't think it's an Airbnb. We can't book it to find out. Maybe Mark would know. Zed, whatever his username is. All right, that's half an hour's worth of rambling. But yeah, that red car really bothers me. If Jay was taken away from there, I wonder which car it was. Anyway, I've got to end it there. Obviously, yeah, obviously on the road here, traveling. More on that. There should be a walk and talk coming tomorrow.